The F-16AJ flies out for Japan in War Thunder. How does it perform? Let's find out. Okay, so let's deal with the elephant in the room. The F-16AJ doesn't exist. Over time, the United States has offered the F-16 for export to basically every country it's had good relations with. Some have adopted it, and some didn't. Japan is one of the countries that didn't. It was offered up in the late 1970s, but it got rejected, with Japan eventually going on to produce the Mitsubishi F2 based on the F-16's aerodynamic shape. But the F2 is a larger and totally different plane. Gaijin was pretty clear that they basically added this in as a lineup filler, similar to the R2Y2 jets, and they based the F-16AJ on the proposed version that was originally pitched to the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force, but was rejected. So, yeah. Anyway, what we get in the game is the F-16AJ, a jet fighter in rank 8 of the Japanese tech tree with a battle rating of 12.0. This jet gets a fully featured ballistics computer with the CCIP for its air-to-ground weapons, CCRP for the bombs, the enhanced envelope gun sight air-to-air mode for its cannon, along with a sensor point of interest, a radar warning receiver, and an adequate supply of countermeasures. Its radar is the AN-APG-66. This is a top-end radar system with look-up search mode, look-down all-aspect mode, multiple sweep and range presets, along with the ACM boresight mode. For loadouts, the F-16AJ can take a pretty good selection of weapons, including air-to-air missiles, rocket pods, dumb bombs, and TV-guided anti-tank missiles. Plus, it gets a drop tank. You can set up some really flexible multi-role weapon loads with this jet. Your IR missiles are going to be the AIM-9P and AIM-9J. The P is a rear aspect heat seeker with 20 Gs of pull, reasonably good tracking, and adequate range. The L is, of course, the best version of the Sidewinder in the game as of early 2023, with 30 Gs of pull, an all-aspect seeker, and excellent tracking performance. You also get the AIM-7F. This is a semi-active radar missile with 25 Gs of pull, good range, and good tracking. This is a very strong performer, and it's arguably one of the top 2 Sparrow derivatives in the game. Generally speaking, you'll get good performance out of this weapon if you're picky with your shots. Its air-to-ground missile is the AGM-65B Maverick. This is a TV-guided anti-tank missile with a pretty solid warhead and reasonably good range. Anything you can get a direct hit on with this thing is usually going to pop. The flight performance of the F-16AJ is, quite simply, amazing. It has a strong engine with good acceleration, a great rate of climb, rigid structural integrity, and its dogfight maneuverability is almost second to none. This jet can dogfight with basically any other plane currently in the game on almost equal footing, and with good throttle management, you can take on Viggens, MiG-29s, and Mirage 2000s without any major performance issues to worry about. On paper, the F-16 ADF and MLU have slightly better flight envelopes, but in a practical sense, you won't really notice any difference. The only real trick with this thing is that, like the other F-16s, you have to keep an eye on your airspeed. If it feels like the jet isn't turning well for you, the solution is really simple. Just slow down. For optimal turning performance, you want to be between about 650 and 800 kilometers an hour. If you try flying this thing into a merge at like Mach 1.15 and then jackhammer into a sudden turn without slowing down, it's gonna seem like the performance is crap. But it's not the plane, it's you. Just trust me, slow down a little and everything will be fine. The F-16AJ, generally speaking, is an enormous generational leap in performance over everything else in the Japanese tech tree. The grind to get this thing is a real pain, so enjoy it. You earned it. Taking this plane out into air battles is a paradigm shift for Japanese tech tree players. The F-16AJ can credibly perform just about any mission you want to fly. You can climb up for high altitude stuff with the 7Fs, You can load up on dumb bombs and do base grinding. You can fly out for traditional air combat dogfighting. You name it, the F-16AJ can deliver for you. If you're focused on air combat, my biggest suggestion is what I mentioned a minute ago. Really try to keep a close eye on your airspeed. The jet's crazy acceleration makes it really easy to get cruising faster than you want to be, so don't be afraid to throw out that air brake for a second when you pull into your first turn of a fight. Unlike some of the earlier Japanese jet fighters, you don't have to shy away from vertical maneuvers in this one, and if you've mained the Japanese tech tree, take some time to try looping over the top in fights a little bit more often. You'll be surprised at how well this jet delivers in the vertical. If you fly out for close air support, the F-16AJ can deliver some heavy punishment. You can take a pretty good load of dumb bombs with the CCIP, along with a full load of air-to-air missiles, which gives solid flexibility for ground attack and air sweeps in the same loadout. Now, if you take the Mavericks for some long-distance shots, which is especially useful against top-tier SPAA, there's a catch: the spawn points. To fly out with the Mavericks, you're going to need about 900 spawn points, so you might be using the dumb bombs a lot more often, which is fine because you get the CCIP and they have a good blast radius. Overall, this is probably the best close air support jet that Japan can get, purely because of the Mavericks, but just know that you need to be on a pretty good hot streak in order to get them. Visually, the F-16AJ is a great-looking jet. You get a few options for custom paint jobs, and they all look amazing. Now, the F-16's already a really classic hot rod-looking jet fighter, and it's a pretty nice departure from the other Japanese jets and everything. And overall, I really enjoy the look of this one, with the custom paint jobs really just pushing it over the top. A+ on the visuals. Landing this plane isn't hard, and it can drop gear and flaps safely at a bit over 400 kilometers an hour. But there are two caveats to remember. First, the jet has a very narrow undercarriage, so don't go doing S-turns on the runway to try and slow down, or you're going to tip over. Second, no drag chute, so if you come in hot, the landing run is going to be pretty long. The cockpit on this jet is amazing. The entire F-16 family has better visibility than really anything else in the game right now. The important instruments are easy to spot, it has a useful heads-up display, and the radar warning receiver is right in my favorite position. My only gripe is that I don't like the radar scope being so low in the cockpit, but generally speaking, the cockpit on this thing is just incredible. To close out on the F-16AJ. This jet has amazing flight performance and is a huge leap over everything else in the Japanese tech tree. It has a great ballistics computer and radar set, along with the EEGS for close-in gunfights. It can carry 6 air-to-air missiles with excellent combat performance, and it has good ground attack potential if you want to go multi-role or fly out for close air support. However, the engine is thirsty, and even with a drop tank, you're going to need to watch your fuel on larger maps. It doesn't have a lot of ammo for its cannon, it's crazy expensive to fly out as close air support, and its excellent maneuverability drops off at higher speeds. The final verdict on the F-16AJ is that right now, near the beginning of 2023, this is the best jet available to Japan, and presents an enormous jump in performance over previous jets. Absolutely worth finishing the grind if you're into the Japanese jet tiers. As always, thanks for watching.